Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Seattle Overload podcast. We have Seahawks tape. Let me know if my mic sounds okay. Part of the reason we're delayed is I was doing the setup again. We're going to look at the Bears' victory. It was a victory, but we also have topics to talk about, like Ryan Grubb, and he will be a big emphasis, big focus for us when we look at this tape. The Seahawks in general missing the playoffs, the Pro Bowl voting, and I don't know, whatever Griff wants to speak about, which is vaguely Seahawks related. That's usually how the podcast goes.
Whatever I want to talk about.
That's right, because it is... Oh, no, that's not right, actually. It's my show. I also should have updated...
The Matty F. Brown Show.
I should have updated this. But actually, maybe not, because ultimately the Seahawks did take a big fat L last week, even if they themselves won.
You know, whatever. It was a rain game on the road. Week 17, Thursday night. Who cares?
Yeah. Did it even happen? I saw Roger Goodell was there. Like, why is the commissioner, like, does he live in Chicago? Or what was really happening in Chicago, you know?
Yeah, interesting.
Anyway,
very interesting.
Before that, Griff, you have a headset. It's the preamble, and you have a headset. So
I've been going without a headset for over a year now.
And funny how when a Seahawks coordinator is now on the hot seat, you suddenly decide to reappear on the podcast, where I'm sure you'll offer your thoughts and opinions on the Seahawks struggling coordinator with a headset very similar to ones that, you know, a sideline Seahawks coordinator might wear.
Oh, interesting.
It's even got an action green trim to it.
Interesting. Yeah, no, there was no subliminal messaging going on there. But yeah, I am wearing a headset, so hopefully the main reason for which is that my mic is better.
It sounds great. But like, how bad was it? Did it get worse, or did you just decide to treat this podcast with the respect you treat ones that you guest on?
That wasn't really behind the motivation for getting a new one. I just thought I should.
Okay. It's fine.
Look, Matty, you know I like to support your show, the Matty F. Brown Show. Okay, I got a topic for you. Name your top 3 favorite types of soup or stews.
Okay, well, first of all, what makes a stew super?
What makes a stew super?
Yeah.
Oh, is this a joke?
No, I don't know what a super stew is.
Soup or stew?
Oh, I thought you were like, oh, they're superb. They're super.
No.
Oh,
I thought you were going to be clever.
I think I've probably shared this before, but I really like pea and ham soup, and I really like, these are really British soup flavors, by the way. I think there's going to be comments about rationing, and we're going to have the discussion about wartime. Anyway, I really like pea and ham soup, and I really like leek and potato soup, but so much so that I would love them to combined.
Yeah, sure.
You know? But I know what your answer is.
Do you?
Yeah, it's the Thai one. The
Tom
Kha,
you're right. Yeah. Tom Kha is my favorite.
Yeah, we've definitely done this as a topic, but stew is very different to soup.
I know.
We've done soups.
They're a whole different thing.
I have a take. This could really alienate a big section of our listenership.
Okay.
What's up with ramen? Like,
ramen?
Yeah, what's up with it?
It's perfectly fine.
Yeah, it's fine. Am I missing something?
No, I don't think anyone's calling ramen a delicacy. It's
that's really offensive.
What I said is offensive that I'm not.
Yeah, it's a big staple. Like I think.
Yeah, it's a staple, not a delicacy. You're the one that said, "What's the deal with it?" I think it's totally fine. It's good.
Yeah. Okay. If it's fine, then it's fine. You know.
But
it was so low down the list of like, if I was gonna have a meal out, like ramen as a choice.
Yeah.
And I just don't like having. I don't really.
Well,
Like,
okay.
how
Wait.
often are you wanting to have
Here,
like broths? Like,
here's the thing. Most of the American access to ramen is like cup of noodle soup. So we're not talking, restaurant quality or street food quality. We're talking like what you buy out of a vending machine and go heat up in the school cafeteria. All right. My favorite soup is Tomka. My second favorite soup is lobster bisque. Okay. I love a bisque. Bisque goes a long way. Third, I don't really care. I love all of it equally. All right, I have another question. Switching gears.
French like fish soup. Have you ever had that?
No.
Yeah.
Is it good?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
With like it's got like a piquant nature, like a spicy type.
Yeah.
It's probably paprika or something, but with like the toasted bread with like grilled cheese on top in the middle of it.
Mm-hmm.
Hell yeah.
Interesting. Do you consider chili a stew?
Like beef chili?
Yeah.
No.
What do you consider?
Are you insane? I consider that like a way of, hey, we got some ground mince, let's not make bolognese. Hey, what about chili? That's exotic. We could have guacamole with it.
But it's
like,
it's a stew though. I mean, categorically, but it's such like its
a
own
stew if
thing.
you're making it correctly, yeah.
If you're making it correctly.
Or like or what is the origin of chili? But what are the people who made chili first? Like, what do they call it? Is it a mole?
I don't know. That's a very good question. We should research the history of
Like
chili.
how, for instance, my mind went to bolognese, right? But that's like a ragu.
Yeah. Anyway, good stuff.
Sasha,
Good
I
stuff.
will chat. Every time you mention food, a lot of you out of pocket, and I've noted down names. I've even starred them, and I know who you are. And just one more comment, and it's a timeout. So
It's the proper pronunciation is paprika.
So when
Not
you're having
paprika.
the famous dish, chicken, what would it be? Chicken paprika hash? Paprika hash? Yeah, I don't think so. I think it's paprikash. So let's just stick with paprika.
All right, hit it, Matty. Let's get this show on the road.
I'm so smooth with it. Welcome to the final Seattle Overload podcast, where we're looking at 2024 week.
Wait, final? What are you talking about? You got a whole nother game to play.
The final meaningful Seattle Overload tape podcast, because the Seahawks have been eliminated from playoff contention. But we will, throughout the season, I think, continue, or throughout the offseason, continue these reviews. We'll still have like a post-mortem analysis of the Seahawks to do, and splitting that into offense and defense will be useful, I imagine. But yeah, we're looking at week 17 and the Seahawks 6-3 win at the Chicago Bears. It feels like ages ago. I guess it kind of was. On Boxing Day night, wasn't it? Or the 26th of December, as you guys say. December 26th. Griff, before we do that, though, there is Seahawks news. Are you excited? What could possibly have happened?
I don't know what happened.
You seem buzzed.
What am I missing?
The Pro Bowl.
Oh yeah.
Woo.
That was a weird one. Really weird.
So Devon Witherspoon was named as as a Pro Bowler, heading to his second straight Pro Bowl. Good for him.
Mm-hmm.
The corner, arguably, like, it was interesting because Mike Sean Dugar of The Athletic posted his numbers from this past season. And I was like, those aren't that impressive. And I know people had some concern over Spoon's level of play, particularly in like the midpoint, where for a guy taking that high in his second year, you may be expected some flashier, more gaudy numbers. And interestingly, you know, as a rookie, he had more TFLs, more sacks, 2 touchdowns. Doesn't have any this year. Pick 6, one of them. And more pass breakups as well, and a lower passer rating allowed. So statistically, maybe a better rookie season. But this year, Griff for Spoon was equally impressive when we watched the tape, I suppose.
Yeah, I think he's a really good football player. I think he deserved it. He makes so many plays that aren't countable. You can't put them in the box score. I think a lot of the average box score statistics are overrated anyway. They don't really indicate how well a player played. Yeah, he totally deserved to make it.
Right, but you described the Pro Bowl as interesting. Now...
Did I?
Oh, sorry, the Pro Bowl results interesting, like literally a minute ago.
Oh, okay.
You're on record.
I don't remember what I say 5 minutes prior, so...
No. Well, I think you're asking about super stews, but anyway.
What's a super stew?
Yeah, we've done that. Yeah. Leonard Williams, I imagine, is why you're saying this, because Williams, the Seahawks defensive tackle, in his second season in Seattle, his first season under Mike Macdonald, his first full season as a Seahawk, he is obviously leads the team with 9 sacks. He has 15 tackles for loss, 26 quarterback hits, and also that 92-yard pick 6 at the New York Jets from Aaron Rodgers. And yet, Griff, not a Pro Bowl defensive tackle.
Yeah, I mean, he's got to be a top 5, top 7 interior defensive lineman this year across the league. How you don't make it onto the Pro Bowl is beyond me.
And Brady's upset.
Can you hear him, really?
Yeah, Brady's really upset about it.
Sorry about that. I'll do something about that in a minute. Yeah, so he deserved to make it. I think it's fun. Julian Love was listed as an alternate, right? I just think that's funny that he didn't make the team this year.
Yeah.
After making it last year.
I mean, he didn't have his primetime pick 6, which is probably what, you know, is to blame for that. But yeah, he's been way better this year.
He's been really good this year. Last year, I think we both agree that he not only was overrated, but not very good at all. Changed his role, and he's playing amazing football, like really awesome football this year. So I don't know. That one was weird for me.
The fact that, like, I've watched not much Buda Baker, but having watched Buda Baker versus the Seahawks, I don't know how he made it. In fact, he kind of reminded me of like all the criticisms of Buda Baker when he was all the criticisms of Jamal Adams when he was in the Seahawks, and what people sort of had in their mind of what he was doing. Or what Buda Baker's actually doing. Like, he's just being relied on as like this like problem fixer, but against the Seahawks he was been missing a bunch of tackles and like trying to run through and not getting there, and they were putting a lot on his plate and he was not eating it. He wasn't dealing with it very well at all, and their whole system was kind of around him making those plays. So kind of weird that he made it, I guess. You can't really argue with Brian Branch or Xavier McKinney.
No.
And by the way, Arizona Cardinals, I think that's their only Pro Bowl selection. I'd be surprised if it wasn't. So then in terms of the competitors or the guys who beat out Williams, Jalen Carter, Dexter Lawrence, Vita Vea. The first two you can have no real complaints about. I don't know how Vita Vea's played this year, but
I haven't paid close enough attention to him. So So I can't really compare Leo to other defensive tackles that well. All I know is that Williams is playing as well as 300 pounders play, in general. Like, how does that not make the Pro Bowl?
Yeah.
He's probably outplaying Vita Vea, especially that Vea isn't like a 3-down player. It's like a 50 snap, 60 snap player. I think Leo's like 70%, 75. So I don't know. I would give it to Leo, but whatever. Hopefully he makes second team All Pro.
For sure. Then, moderately interesting, I guess, is Jared Verse, the Los Angeles Rams outside backer, making it. I think he has 4.5 sacks on the year. The rookie, first round pick. Or was he a first round pick? He was the year he nearly came out and then didn't. Anyway, I don't know about that either. Any other Pro Bowl thoughts?
Brooks got snubbed.
Oh, McBride. Did McBride make it? Sorry, I misspoke. Yeah, Arizona had 2. Then, yeah, I don't think Buda Baker should have made it. Yeah, Jordan Brooks, Griff, he did get snubbed.
He got snubbed. What's funny is I think it was either 2001. I think Brooks was like second in Pro Bowl voting for linebackers, and then he didn't make it anyway.
In 2001?
Or 2021, sorry.
Oh, right.
My bad. I don't know what happened there. Ernest Jones should be an alternate at least. He's a good ball player. What, Brady?
Yeah, I don't know how do we see alternates? Is that just the bottom name? Oh yeah, it's the bottom name. Yeah, it's weird.
Yeah,
like Zaire Franklin should not be a
No.
Like, he's a pretty polished player. He's doing that whole, hey, it's a Pete Carroll tree defense. They're well coached linebackers, but he's so slow, and the Colts defense has been appalling.
He can't robot, Matty. He can't. He can't match the final 3.
He tries to match the final 3. He knows what the final 3 is, but
yeah, he's just too slow for it.
Also, last Sunday I had to do the Colts Giants game, and oh my god, like, it might be over for Gus Bradley. Like, they just can't. They couldn't tackle, and like, they let Drew Lock do appalling things to them. And Malik Neighbors could be Pete's new DC.
Yeah.
Right then, that's one part of Seahawks news. I guess, Griff, we should talk about Seattle missing the postseason for the second straight year.
Yeah.
Because since we last recorded, we knew Seattle needed a lot of things to break their way, even if they had broke their way this past week, as Axel, who appears in the chat, was making sure people knew on the apps. They would have also needed lots of strength for victory things. It was incredibly unlikely, even in week 18. And so it's proved, even in week 17, they've been eliminated from postseason play. That, Griff, is unfortunate in some ways. Like, the NFC North was very strong.
In a way, it's kind of good they didn't squeak in there because they weren't going to do anything with this offense anyway. Unless they got in the playoffs because their offense was better. But that's, like if they could be the same team and some games could have gone the other way, right? It just would have been really miserable because I don't even think they would have had a puncher's chance with anyone. It just would have been embarrassing. So in a way, not making the playoffs kind of hammers home what you need to fix, makes it more easy to confront. Or maybe you're more willing to confront it. I don't know.
Right.
Frustrating season, man. I mean, for the defense to have improved so much and then for the offense to just tank after last year. And it's just, you're supposed to get better, not worse. But so you end up spinning your tires in the aggregate. And also special teams being horrific after being pretty good, after being really good. So
horrific.
Are they? Aren't they? Isn't their DVOA really bad?
Oh yeah, well I can. They had a few really poor plays, like individual plays as well, right? I'm gonna sneeze. Bastard.
Bless you.
Yeah, I think that's what is so disappointing, and we will start to look ahead after this week, really. But every playoff team feels far more complete than the Seahawks. Even the Rams, like in terms of how they can play complementary football, are far more complete than the Seahawks.
Mm-hmm.
There was clearly some attempt to play complementary football as the season progressed, but that kind of reverted. And if you look at the Seahawks wins this year, they haven't beat a good team. Like the best team they beat is probably the Denver Broncos, and I don't really count that. And that's because Bo Nix was in check down training wheels mode, where he looked awful, and they just weren't ready to play Denver in week 1. They just were not ready for that road game.
No. They they really don't have a signature win. It felt good to beat the 49ers.
They've all of their wins have aged so poorly, right?
Yeah.
Like the 49ers banged up and they've done nothing. Atlanta, like Kirk Cousins is a joke, basically.
Right. Right.
The Jets are a joke.
It's good that the defense dominated bad teams. It's not like except for the Giants, it's not like they had a game where it's like, oh, they were so bad against, they handled business against the teams you had no excuse not to handle business against. So yeah,
and it does feel like a wasted opportunity in terms of, I don't know. I'm torn on it, and I think we may as well preview week 18 now before the tape. Very new for us. Well, a total one-off listener. You're having a treat here, but this upcoming game, Griff, like just the optics between going 10-7 versus 9-8. Like 10-7 would be slightly unlucky. Like you'd be the second 10-win team to miss the postseason in the last decade, albeit expanded with the Week 18 game. You'd go 7-1 on the road. You'd be 4-2 in division, and you'd be like, Macdonald got unlucky. It's an improvement record-wise on last year, and whatnot. But if you go 9-8, that's the same record that John Schneider, the previous off-season, described as falling short of expectations, and you'd be getting swept by the NFC West Division champion. It would, of course, also be even worse given the Rams are resting like all of their significant players, and that's a shame in itself because we'll never know actually if Macdonald, who is still calling the plays for the Seahawks, despite the Rams giving their other play callers reps, we'll never know if the Seahawks could have beat a full-strength, fully committed Rams team on the road. So,
10-7 looks a lot better for posterity than 9-8. I mean, it's a game they should win. They don't really have an excuse to not win it, like you said. I mean, and if you go 10-7, you get to say you improved off of last year. But I think Schneider is the one that is most pressed about having said, okay, we're better than we were last year. I don't think Macdonald cares. I don't know how ownership feels about it. I think they just want to feel that kind of vibey feel of, are we on the right trajectory long term? I don't know how they view the offense. I don't know if they care.
Because like in some ways they, Macdonald did improve the defense like quite significantly.
Yeah.
And you kind of saw the proof of concept there, and you're like, okay, yeah, he's still a great play caller, and he can adapt to the Seahawks personnel, and he can fix in-season issues, and he can evolve somewhat, and he can acquire certain players, and that's really exciting. And what does that look like with a second year with the front office staff? Get excited, I guess. But from an offense perspective, to be so poor with the talent level that they have, and you can talk about having a bad O-line, I think that's valid, obviously, but at the same time, you can work around these issues and weaknesses, and the tackle pairing is not bad. Like, it's at least average.
Mm-hmm.
And okay, they didn't have Abraham Lucas to start the year, and there's been lots of shuffling, and there's been injuries, and they've had to find the personnel, and that's all, again, valid, but still feels like a massive waste, the offense this year. A massive waste, and one that I think in his second season, Macdonald has to be more involved with the offense. And we don't know the extent of his involvement with the offense this season. We don't know if Ryan Grubb is going to return as Seahawks offensive coordinator, although his comments today where he said he's looking forward to working with you.
Yeah. Oh, echo. What's going on?
I'm unplugging my mic in excitement. Have I fixed myself? Yes, I fixed myself. Brilliant. Yeah, his comments today, they suggest that he expects to be back, but anyway, we can talk about a press conference in a second, Griff. But yeah, just Griff, the amount of talent on the offense, the results, the kind of lack of, I think also, Griff, it's not just the results, but like they've ended the year and they still have week 18, where I'm sure the Rams will rest some of their defensive players, but there's no signs really of progress to me.
No,
like, there's very small ones, but ultimately it feels the same.
No, there's no sign of improvement really.
Improvement.
They've been really. I mean, it's always a fun exercise to squint and be like, what can you rally around, and then what do you need to improve? But there isn't that going on with this. There's been no trend of getting better in the areas they need to get better. They've just remained bad at what they've remained bad at the whole season. And they've remained decent at the things that they're decent at. It all starts with structure. I did think it was interesting that Grubb talked about how talks about matchups and then Macdonald helping him with understanding like structure, attacking structure. Because that's all the issue. That's all of their problems.
And various NFL defensive families as a way of doing that, and how they all stem from different things, and understanding the personnel within that. That was fascinating. The Grubb press conference, that was a standout comment, Griff. But like, did you have other reads on that? We're talking about Ryan Grubb's press conference that he did today.
Well, it almost sounded like he kind of it almost felt like he had nervous energy for the first time. Like he felt like he had to kind of defend himself a little bit. He kind of just kept going and kind of repeating himself. And he's usually super calm, cool, and collected and doesn't really give off any indicators. But it felt like maybe he felt the need to kind of, in his mind, set the record straight a little bit.
Really? I thought he'd got the message that he was like being retained. Like,
you think so?
Excited. Yeah.
Well, sometimes people say stuff like that. I don't know. So sometimes they try to manufacture their sticking aroundness. I mean, what else is he going to say? But I think he's placing the onus on. I don't know.
But you're so right that all the issues have been like attacking structure. Even his comment on DK, how like teams installed new coverages to double DK that they hadn't seen before, in his words. Or it's not his exact words, but like, what is he talking about?
Maybe getting clouded occasionally. Maybe maybe the disguise.
Yeah, but it's cloud. Like, come on.
Yeah, I'm sorry, man. You gotta stop moving him around so much.
Yeah. I mean, it came off as a guy who's like it really it highlighted the differences between calling plays in college versus the NFL.
Yeah. You know, when you're more first, I think predictability is I mean, ironically, they are predictable, but predictability is like given a bad rap, like the kind of predictability some people mean. When you're predictable, they're predictable. The more predictable you are, and then it can just be a constraint game. Oh, if A do B, if X do Y type of game. Like that's all you need to do with DK. Am I being pressed or are they off? You know, like you can establish that relationship of what to expect the more you keep him in one spot. He should not be in the slot 35% of the time. That's way too much. It's not because he can't handle slot duties. It's because you're taking him away from what he does best. Whatever. The under center sucks. They don't do enough of it, and they're bad at it. Shotgun, they throw away too much. They don't do enough quick game either to offset the 5-step, 7-step drop. So the ratios are all off. Makes everything harder. Placing more stress on your O-line. All of it's just, man, again, it's not the details. It's the structure.
Yeah.
So,
and a part of me also, there was a comment Tyler Lockett made about his press conference was interesting because he speaks like a guy who is very much recognizing the very much real possibility that he is no longer a Seahawk next season and that this upcoming game could be his last in Seahawks blue. Although they're on the road, so they might wear white, but there will be a blue trim. Anyway, him saying, Griff, that he was like speaking about adapting to the new regime and how there used to be a run-oriented offense, and now he views it as like a passing offense, like big passing offense. He wasn't necessarily saying that as like a this year thing, but it kind of came off like that, and I wonder, yeah, like how fleshed out is Macdonald's offensive philosophy? Like how involved is he? And is he actually in favor of being like really high passing if, you know, the situation dictates in his mind, like if he believes that they're in advantageous personnel or have I broke my thing? Am I fixed again?
I can hear you now.
Yeah. That's we still don't really know that, right? Like all we have to go off is physical, and McDonald saying basically that they want to do smart stuff.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, I don't know. We'll see. It'll be an interesting offseason.
So we have a few comments here. Thank you for your questions. If you have more, please put them in and I'll star them and try and get some of them answered. Jason, people think John Schneider will seek out Sam Darnold due to his early interest. I presume that's when Darnold was coming out as a prospect, right? Maybe. I don't know. Do you think Darnold improves this offense? Well, Jason, an interesting stat for you there. Among quarterbacks with 300 dropbacks, or just 300, like they've dropped back to pass 300 times, so that includes play action. Geno on the season has been pressured on 37.6% of those. Sam Darnold's up there. He's slightly higher pressured. He's 37.7%. But Geno Smith's time to throw per next-gen stats is 2.84 seconds, whereas Sam Darnold is 3.08 seconds. Darnold holds the football, but that's not just the Darnold thing. It's partly that, and he will do some kind of crazy scrambling stuff, and that had been an issue with him turning the ball over, but he's got a bit smarter about that. Although he does just throw it up to his guys, and they just make plays. But that is also indicative of a Vikings offense that is very good at play action versus a Seahawks offense that is appalling at play action. So if they, to ask, would Darnold improve this offense? I think it'd be an absolute catastrophe if he was slotted into this offense.
It'd be an absolute disaster. The Seahawks are the exact type of situation where Darnold reverts to form and starts to panic. Everything's open in Minnesota. They keep the heat off of him through how they vary the scheme. So much is point and shoot. He's got receivers that win jump balls. So literally everything that's working for him in Minnesota, there's none of that in Seattle. So this idea that Darnold is like the cap savvy alternative to Geno, like, just isn't true. It's just not going to happen here. It's great for him. Like, I believe in his talent. I think it's cool that he's in a situation where Darnold can thrive, but O'Connell would never ask Sam Darnold to do what Shane Waldron or Ryan Grubb are asking Geno to do, like the way they construct their offense, even with Grubb greatly not optimizing it. Like, there's just no. I mean, to put it another way, if O'Connell had Geno, the Vikings offense is even better. I mean, the offense is really good, but it's not like Kyle Shanahan with Brock Purdy. Like, they're like the 10th best offense. They're not like the second or third best offense. So I think that whole situation is the final output is being overrated a little bit in the aggregate.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah. Now we also have a question here from Dan, and I mentioned that Lockett press conference, but do you see Tyler returning as a Seahawk in 2025? Historical trend points towards John Schneider cutting him outright, but if his tape is still good, there's Grubb new offensive coordinator fight to keep him next season on a pay cut. Obviously, Lockett's slotted to earn something like $20 million next year, which isn't going to happen. I mean, Lockett himself said, like, look at the tape, I'm still playing well, and I'd agree with that. He spent a lot of time in that presser speaking about how he'd kind of taken like a conscious backseat, like on and off the field, and I think Griff and we've always spoke about, with JSN, Metcalf, and Lockett, one of the three has to be less targeted, but we've also talked around the topic about it's ridiculous that Lockett has been phased out so much. Like, the imbalance of that choice is, well, yeah, it just creates an imbalance. Like, they're really not utilizing or not going at Lockett in a way that they could and should. And again, it's another part of the offense that just feels like a waste. Similarly to how Metcalf, as Griff spoke about, when he faces off coverage, doesn't get hitch targets or curl targets to attack that defensive structure. There's a lot of things Lockett is still good at that would be effective counterpunches for certain defensive structures that are just not in the offense. Like, he just doesn't get it. So,
yeah, I
and
agree
then
with you.
To actually answer Dan's question, I think probably not, but I think that's also like, they sign an offensive lineman with that money. I don't know how cap stuff works, but I think they'd view it as, we got two really good receivers. They're obviously going to keep DK. Well, maybe that's not obvious, but you'd think. And so JSN is now the new Lockett. We acquire a third receiver. We get younger, and with that money, we improve the offensive line.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Okay. Right. The tape, Griff. How do you want to do this? Because when I watch this tape, because if you remember, after the game, I was somewhat critical of Geno Smith, probably the most critical I'd been. But then watching it back, I'm less critical, and I even was like ready to just watch every single play in a row, which, I mean, we could do that tonight, but it's quite late. Maybe not. But yeah, I was excited to talk to the chat about this game because I'm sick. but also I don't know. I feel like it's a perfect tape for showing what the offense is bad at right now. Like when you put up 6 points, there's obviously going to be issues, but after the opening script, Griff, this was it's a car wreck, wasn't it? Like,
Yeah.
and it did change my there's one really bad two really bad Geno plays, I'd say.
Yeah, the drop pick, and then what was the other one in your mind?
The 2nd and 8 where he sacked himself, where I wondered why he didn't check it down into the flat.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So maybe we should talk through those plays and then.
Sure.
Yeah, but as I pull them up, what did you make of this tape from an offense perspective?
For me, my mind goes to on the road on a Thursday night, week 17, and it's pouring outside ultimately. Geno passed up some throws downfield, or I don't think he felt comfortable getting the throw off with the way the O-line was. Like it was kind of a, if I throw this, there's a 50-50 chance I get hit as thrown. And with it being a rainy day, I don't think he wanted to risk the ball too much. I mean, he protected the ball well. I think that was his mindset after that initial mistake where he just didn't check the weak hook defender on that spacing call.
The O-line was terrible.
Yeah.
Clear passing down.
So. Yeah, Lucas was bad and Laumeo was bad. And Lakeland was bad.
Yeah. So only 3 of the 5 were bad.
Yeah, no, you're right. Cross was okay. I think he got beat legit one time. Then Oluwatimi, he kind of had 2 partial losses where it was him and the other guy kind of not communicating well. I thought Oluwatimi had a good game though.
Yeah.
I did like some of the gun runs. I like the long trap stuff Grubb did, but I think he used too much of it on the second down.
He had a good play, but then what you can't just keep. What else do you have? Why haven't we seen that before? What about this defense made that the call? Right. Anyway. So, interesting thing as well, looking at the data, and we'll have time to look at this, but the Seahawks in play action points earned per pass play are 29th. Points earned per play action pass play are 29th.
Not great.
Not great.
Very
okay,
bad.
So running back out wide, empty formation, they know they're getting zone. I didn't understand why it's uncharacteristic from Geno. It's like going into autopilot, I guess. But he looks here. The whole purpose of this is to look this linebacker here, influence him into this window, and then you can come back here. Or they have choice, is this? Or it's just spacing, isn't it?
Spacing.
Which, by the way, from a tendency perspective, Griff, that is a very common thing for Grubb out of this tight, empty look. Yeah. He doesn't show this tight, empty look as much, but I think this is the only short concept from it.
I don't like the play call at the 9-yard line at all because Lockett is not going to turn up field and fight for extra couple yards, and you're so bad inside the 5. What is the purpose of this play call other than just to get a new series of downs? You should be trying to throw a touchdown or getting in the end zone at this point. In my view, I don't know. Or just run it again.
We're so condensed, yeah. So I think, I don't know what Geno reads here. It's just a poor read. And he takes too long to throw it.
Yeah, he clearly doesn't see Edmonds, the mic.
Here?
Yeah, I mean, otherwise, why would he throw? He knows he can't fit that in there. Usually when Geno throws, When Gino throws a pick where it's on him, it's usually him he knows what he's looking at and he thinks he can just beat the guy. This is a case where I don't think he saw the player, and I think he just misread it. I don't think he's making bad reads when he does throw picks. This is a case where he does, though, make a bad read.
Well, and what doesn't help, and he probably does clutch the ball, is the twist is right in the passing lane, and obstructing that vision, right? Like, he probably clutches that if he sees, because he'd be able to see, you know?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the offensive line struggles in this moment. A lot of people said how JSM was coming open. That is correct. You know, in an ideal world, you pick this up, your quarterback sees this, he then progresses to this open concept, and he has the time to do that, and you get the first down. Or, you know, as you have a bit more time, this guy has to expand out, and then you throw this, which is the purpose of the concept. But, yeah. That is not enough time to do that. So, anyway, they've really struggled.
Yeah, it's
like this.
It's too bad that on a quick game concept, your quarterback is still getting knocked down.
Yes,
shouldn't be happening. And dude, Lakin's a vet. Like, come on, man. Does make you wonder about coaching a little bit.
Yeah, that's an unusual one. Okay. And this is Dan. Let me find. Well, I can't find Dan. Anyway, Dan Chu on Twitter did a thread of Gino's interceptions and turnover-worthy plays, which is really worth checking out with the tape, sort of attributing blame. Dan would be able to give us the official count of how many of these are on Gino, but this is on Gino. He's under a lot of duress, but he can't be doing that. But this is why after the game I was so like, oh, is Gino okay? Part of why, because that just was not a good play. But to me, it being opening scripts, they'll have gone through this type of thing in their sleep. It's weird it happens like this. Right, let's go to the 2nd and 8. Which definitely does exist. Okay, I think it's before that. It'd be good if we had timestamps, eh? Griff, while I'm finding this, is there anything that you feel they've found as the season developed that they should be building upon? Like, say Grubb is kept, what can they learn and build from? Like, what have they learned from and can take into 2025? From like play calling, offensive structure standpoint.
When I think of the positives of the 2024 Grubb experience, it's usually found it's typically found in like some of the neat like individual play designs. But to me, that's not what makes a good offense. Like, it's always nice to have, tricks up your sleeve. Like the dig and go against quarters is cool. Some of his favorite play calls out of trips, like the 3x1 clear out all curls behind it thing. Like, that's cool. But like, all of that is, like I've said 100 times, undermined by the ecosystem that he creates, by how much he runs and how much he passes in X and Y, and just the knock-on effects of that. Like, and there's just not a lot of positive things or optimistic things to say in those areas. We haven't. I mean, there's been no signs of life of like, hey, do our play actions protections, do they fit the actual runs they run? Like, there's none of that, man. So,
and he did say, Griff, about learning the coaches and what they can coach. I do wonder, like, maybe after an off season they will, I don't know, like maybe they didn't have enough time to install all of the under center play action pass protections like we spoke about, right? And maybe that's what they've learned, but we're kind of clutching at straws here.
I mean, if you just put together a cut up of all their under center play actions, with 95% of them opening to the weak side with duo blocking, with no motion, by the way. Because when they do run weak duo, they have the tight end motioning across. So you get the same kind of concept, same numbers, play side. Mm-hmm. It would be very apparent that the protections are the same almost every time. You have hi-hats, and the linebackers don't bite on the run fake at all. They don't even read step. They just start dropping immediately. The number one thing with the offense is we need to fix this. We need to get the linebackers biting. It would be so apparent. And like, I'm sure Mike already has looked. He's watched obviously the tape on all of his plays anyway. But he'll probably himself independently do a deep dive.
Well, I don't think Macdonald will have watched much offense this year.
He watches every play.
Yeah, but like not watched. He'll have like cycled through it, I think.
Maybe. We do know that, not that this would be a surprise, but Grubb and Mike have had conversations about the particulars of the offense. To what extent, we don't know. But we know they've had conversations about formations and stuff.
Wow.
Combination of on and off the record things there. Do with that well, but like we know it's on his mind, but it's just a huge oversight. I mean, we as Seahawks fans have watched, no matter how bad the O-line is, no matter what felt like underachieving the overall offense is, there's only been one other season where they had bad under center play action numbers. That was 2017. They've always had. We know what it looks like because there's so much examples. No matter how amateur you thought Shoddy or Waldron or Bevel were, they all were able to generate offense. Boot game, pocket play action, deep pocket. And then since the exit of Russ, just because he's a different quarterback, we've seen over the middle stuff work, more intermediate. It's just not a good coaching job this year, is really what it comes down to.
Did you read much into Macdonald mentioning Jake Peets and how he's known him for a long time? Asked directly about Peets, but
yeah. So like, what the hell's going on there with him having background with the under center world?
And apparently Peets is really involved with ideas each week. Macdonald was saying.
Yeah, with his official titles being passing game coordinator, like how does he? I don't know. The other thing that's weird is, Grubb talked about like. He watched the tape on all of his players last year, right?
Yeah.
He knows what worked for them. Like, and some of this stuff a little bit overlaps with what he did at UW. Why did you stop doing the things that your team is already so good at and you were good at last year? Like, how does that happen? Like, some of that just will never make sense to me.
Well, that speaks to like learning on the job, right? Like, you try to keep staying ahead, and you like get caught up in trying to adapt to offensive or defensive families and structures and all those things he spoke about, and like the adaptation to the NFL, and you kind of forget certain things or get away from certain things, right? So this is the other Geno play, Griff. Now, Grubb loves him some all curls, especially against cover 3 with off corners, or defenses that use that. He cannot handle or really struggled this season with cover 3 off corners. So, Gino opens here.
He should almost be checking down right now, right where you right.
Yeah, because the crucial thing here, guys, is it's a 2nd and 7. They've been marching the ball well. It's a 3-0 game. I wondered, Griff, if this is, like playing like he really doesn't want to turn the ball over, and how this rushes is why he doesn't do that, or he doesn't want to get batted down.
Mm-hmm.
Because I don't know why he didn't just, like, the read here, guys, would be this guy, right? And then make sure the corner's off, which he is, but it's this guy. He's tight. There's no one here. Like, this is the throw. Yeah. Throw the ball. Stay ahead of the sticks. Interesting he didn't do that. So then he's reading here, which the spacing of these routes is awful.
They're way too close to each other.
Far too close together. That makes this guy's job so easy, because you can see how if the timing of the play had been better, you would have this guy with a lot of space to cover, and then if this guy is going to cover here, then you can check the ball down here. Anyway, the primary, like, downfield part here is not there. Anyway, I don't know why, like, check the ball down, that you have to check the ball down. And he just decides not to, which is so un-Gino-like. Because every time you watch Gino, usually, you're like, oh, that's why the ball didn't go there. That's why the ball didn't go there. Okay, he's going to check the ball down because Gino honors the structure of plays.
Right.
To not check the ball down here, I was alarmed at this one.
Yeah, that's
very un-Gino-like, and that speaks to me of, well, I don't know what it speaks of, but I don't like it. And it makes me worried about, like, what is the impact of the offense on Gino this year. I don't want to overreact too much. It's a one-play thing, but that's just bizarre. I cannot explain that.
Yeah, no, it's just a bad play. There's not a whole lot to say there. It is a bad play.
And I just hope stuff like this doesn't creep into his game next week. Sasha mentioned also Gino is hurt. We don't know what he's dealing with exactly, but he had that lower leg deal. And I think that combined with the weather, as Griff was saying, did make him gun shy, pulling the trigger downfield occasionally.
Also can screw with you mentally, right? Short week, road game, injury, rain. You're just...
This would be like speed out territory, right? Like, why are we running DK? This is a great play to show the DK issue. So it's 3rd and 10.
Exactly. So, like, what happened to the speed out? But they don't have a lot of the like, DK's route tree is not appropriate relative to the corner techniques they get.
Inside leverage, off coverage, and Yeah. So this guy's pitching his tent for the post and the fade.
Right. And the dig, technically, I guess.
Yeah. So here, the routes that would make sense would be this. Like, DK's where Gino looks primarily because it's one-on-one. So then how about we have a leverage read between the two of them? Make this guy wrong. There's no way they're going to double him here. You've got a one-on-one. All the BS or whatever... Some of it's true, but all the stuff about DK getting doubled, this is the one-on-ones you need to hit. The guy's off coverage, defending you. He's respecting your speed. He's respecting your ability to run these types of routes. What if we did this, or just took the top off him? Why don't we go at him?
And so when you do that enough, when you punish the corner for a technique they're running, then it opens up other stuff later on.
Yeah, because And it helps your offensive line as well, right, Griff? Because suddenly as a DC, I'm going to be like, well, crap, they're eating on me. Like, we're stopping DK beating us real deep, but they keep completing these isolation routes. We need to double him somehow. and then that opens up the run because it gets you a lighter box at times. It creates less attention here because what they basically get is 3 and then 4 guys, 5 guys almost over 3 here. But this is as one-on-one as it gets. Like, it's embarrassing not to be able to hit that with a player like DK. Like, why are you giving him a route into there? Now, what also doesn't help is Gino is pressured. They don't pick up the protection gets beat by the concept, right? But I think if DK was running a timing pattern here, the ball's coming out now, rather than having to wait for him to cross the face of an inside leverage corner, which takes more time.
Right. It's almost coming out even sooner than that.
Yeah, like because of the corner leverage and the route that they ran, it took a bit longer, which was too long for the line to protect what is a tricky fire zone. Bringing basically 4 off one side. And then on this side, Griff, snag. Which they're obsessed with snag. Which isn't really a thing. Oh dear. So there was a play that I wanted to talk about. The other Gino play that I was it was this one. So live, I was like, I think I'm surprised he didn't pull the trigger, but actually watching it, this is first and 10. He just doesn't have time to do this.
No, it's just the protection failing.
Yeah. Also,
again, though, the rain, I don't know if you felt like you could have actually gotten the ball there without it being a rainbow.
Yeah, it might slip, like.
Because he also has to wait to see. He can't anticipate it because it's a read. He has to make sure he knows DK is declaring. And DK's kind of screwed Gino over before with this.
Right. And at this moment, the corner's probably, like, the corner only throttles down because Gino does. It wasn't there. So I was wrong for criticizing this. But again, you're running into quarters. You're running.
Look at Lucas, man. God.
Yeah, Lucas was having a tough time. Maybe it's the weather. He just didn't like it, but he was getting worked. Yeah. This is not a good call against this type of quarters. When you can't protect. But really, you can see where the holes would be, right? And again, this is a point about Lockett being open. Like, look at Lockett's route here, guys. Finding the space. If the ball's out timing-wise, that's complete. Anyway. But, like, if they do retain Grubb, is the plan just to go... Like, are they going to massively change their philosophy? Like, are they going to invest in offensive line? Are they going to go big on an offensive line guard in free agency?
I think that they will try to make a big move for it.
But I don't know how sustainable their approach would be for any offensive line, really, in the NFL.
What do you mean? You mean rostering-wise?
No, like the play calling. Like the just sheer amount of gun drop back.
No, the offense has to change.
Yeah.
Well, even with, again, it's the lack of quick game. To throw as much as they are, to not have quick game feature is weird. And again, what makes it really weird for me is that the ratio of quick game to 5-step drop was like 2 to, well, no, what would that be? It was like 4 to 7 would be the ratio. For every 4 quick game drops, there were 7 5-step drops at UW, and that was what Waldron had also. And Waldron had a high pass rate out of shotgun, just not quite as high as Grubb, right? Grubb's ratio right now is more like 2-5, which is just too low. It needs the ratio needs to be more quick game per 5-step drop. It doesn't need to be 1-to-1. With Russ, it's more like 1-to-1, which is extremely high quick game because he just can't handle 5-step in high volume. But in Gino's case, he can handle a lot of 5-step, but when your O-line is bad, you need to beef up the RPOs and the quick game a little bit more. I think, again, like Grubb just got too excited with Gino. Like, like if you just watch their tape as processors, like Gino can do more than Penix can. And just even relative.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
Like, Gino is just more of a full field processor, like can handle the protections, can handle, can move in the pocket. Penix is very stationary. He wants to stay on platform no matter what. Gino will work the pocket. And I think Grubb got a hold of that in camp. Was like, this is freaking awesome, but he just took the principle too far. So, I mean, if you said to Grubb, like, yo, spend 40 or 35% of your snaps under center, and I want you throwing at least 33% of the time, that means you're going to have to add more volume in terms of run concepts and play action protections. You and Huff figure out the details. And then if you told him, hey, in shotgun, play action a little bit more, run a little bit more, a little less of that, a little more of quick game, and then you handle the details, I'd be curious to know what that looks like with him. But I don't know if those mandates are going to – I don't know if you can get those mandates out of him. I don't know if that's how Macdonald would communicate it even. Because clearly he has communicated things in season. And that's the response has almost been like taking it again too far, like an overcorrection. Like the first 49ers game. It was like he almost did it just to prove the point. It's like this Bears game.
Yeah.
Like again, the rain, the forecast was what it was, but I quipped like it's like malicious compliance almost. It's not balance, it's overcorrection.
Yes. It's like
I don't know, man.
Yeah. So this here, Griff, is a play action which may have been popping open against cover 3. It's again weak duo fake where they it's usually a concept run against man-to-man, right? Where it's like, what does Sark call this? Wave, is it?
Yep. It's a totally fine play design.
Fine. This is the route you're trying to get. You can see how it kind of would have been popping open because DK's running the post, the corner's staying here, the curl flats here. Now, he wouldn't be this shallow ordinarily if Gino had still been looking here. He'd have started bailing. But anyway, you check the play down, and it's an easy play for the curl flat. The problem really here is more the pass pro, right? It's a tough job for Lake and Tomlinson.
I would say that there's two problems. One, the pass pro. And part of that is because they read pass so quickly. So, again, play action is supposed to slow down the pass rushers. This doesn't slow 93 down at all. He's gone.
Yeah, not because they're selling duo, right? Like a duo run concept on 93.
You see him looking at cross right now. He's like, okay.
But he's expecting a double here, and he doesn't get it. So he's like, what? There's no run concept like this. And
draw. You're right, but you don't draw out of underside.
Right, and you don't really draw weak either.
No.
So, which again is another problem with faking it weak. Not do they run duo weak either. But anyway.
The other issue, though, is look at Edmonds, 49. Even if the pressure was coming, Gino could have gotten the throw to Jackson earlier if 49 wasn't in the initial window. There's two windows. He's in the first window. Gino could have gotten the ball off to beat the rush, but he can't because the receiver isn't open because the protection, the play action didn't sell. So he has to wait for Jackson to clear the first window and get into the second window. And by the time that happens, the pressure comes. So again, it's not the play design. What Grubb's doing downfield is totally fine. It's all the sequencing up front.
Also, like having your guard 1-on-1 with a 3-tech who is immediately read pass like after the initial contact's tough because suddenly you've got a two-way go, right? It's such a tough task for Laken here.
You know who handled inside moves really well? Damian Lewis.
That's unfortunate.
Anyway.
Watching Edmonds' feet here is so funny. Like, he doesn't... Not for a second. He's like, that's weird.
No.
So... Anyway. Is there another offense play you want to look at, Griff, or should we look at the defense? Not look at the defense, talk defense very quickly.
But let's talk some defense.
Right, so what do you think of the defense? Because the main takeaway, I guess, was, hey, they beat up on a rookie quarterback. They kept attacking him, and Caleb Williams can handle it. Did the tape confirm such things?
Yeah, it did. There were some cases where a guy popped open that Caleb didn't take advantage of, but I think the run defense recovered a little bit structurally. I'm still worried about Ernest Jones's knee. His speed on stretch plays is really concerning, actually.
Yeah.
I hope it's just a flare-up because he has been on the injury report. Hope it's not a long-term thing. The corners and safeties played really well, and the D-line ate. Leonard Williams played really, really well this game. So did Jaron Reed.
I thought Caleb Williams was like, I haven't watched much from this year, but he looks very bad. Like,
he's broken.
Really struggling. He looks broken, yeah. He's doing the like trying to move up and back in the pocket when it's just like sit in the pocket and make the damn throw. Like, what is?
Yeah, he's trying too hard to be. He was trying too hard to be the pocket guy, almost to like prove a point and not trying to bail. And then he's completely lost the sense of when it's time to abort. And so, but he still doesn't want to abort. So he just gets nervous in the pocket instead. I mean, it's honestly, it's a David Carr situation. He's getting David Carr right now.
Yeah, because he's been sacked like 60 plus times, right?
Yeah, it's bad. I wonder what Pete does with him.
But it was cool from a Seahawks perspective to see Macdonald keep attacking and just go, nah, this guy's done. Like, no mercy.
The cat blitzes, the Sam and Will, just destroying man protection or Bob protection, big on big, back on backer. That was all really successful. So it's like just if the talent and the structure of the first down calls can get you to a second and long, then Mike will take it from there type of thing.
Yeah, and there was an interesting tweet that I saw you retweeted, and I retweeted today from the account at Today Seahawks saying the Seahawks in 2023 ranked 24th on first and second down defense. In 2024, that dropped to 27th. However, they've gone from being the 32nd ranked team on late downs in 2023 to the first ranked team in 2024. So early down defense actually got slightly worse from being bad already, but it's the late downs where McDonald's making his money. And I think the key to the second half of the season with the defense has been they have kind of got on top of some of the first and second down stuff.
Yeah.
They've created more of the third downs. That's anecdotal. Right. I need to actually look at that if that's the case.
And that correlates, the improvement correlates to the trade for Ernest Jones on early downs. But, really, if you have good early down defense, you probably have good linebackers. And if you have good late down defense, you probably have really good pass rush and corners.
And obviously there's lots which goes into it, but
yeah, a lot that goes into it. But that had been Seattle's problem was third down defense last year. Anyway, they also had really good first down defense in 2021. Anyway, I'm getting off track.
Getting in the weeds there. Right, Griff. Good defense. Shame we won't get to see him against the proper Rams team. We've kind of spoke about this matchup, but like this is a Jimmy G throwing a pick into a non-traditional Tampa 2 or a sim or like Kobe Bryant's going to get a pick this game probably.
Good call.
Just coming down, and
yeah, I mean,
Jimmy G won't see him.
Just a million ways to get extra droppers to them in between the hashes, either coming from deep or coming from shallow. I think the way you get there is you present a lot of you get into a lot of sim pressure so that your linebackers are dropping from the line of scrimmage instead of your big guys, because the big guys aren't going to cover the 10 to 12 yard window. They'll get you the 6 to 8 yard window,
Right.
Well, you want. We'll probably see Mafe and here. How about this? I think Nwosu will have a pass deflection. Not at the line of scrimmage, but downfield playing a hook. Actually, no. Uchenna Nwosu is going to get an interception.
It was interesting. Macdonald spoke about Nwosu playing a bit more than the other guys, like on his return, and he spoke about the style of offense they'd faced as like a potential reason for that, along with Nwosu being a good player.
It's funny, like as good as Mafe and Derek Hall are, like Nwosu's still clearly better than them.
Yeah, he's such a good football player, like in like every aspect.
He just comes in right away, and you're like, oh yeah. Like I have no complaints about Mafe and Hall. Like let them keep developing and stuff. I mean, maybe a little bit with Mafe, maybe we want to see a little bit more. But as a football player, like Mafe's floor is like skyrocketed, right, since his rookie year.
Yeah, it's been amazing.
But it's like with Nwosu, it's like, oh, okay, yeah, that's what a real legit guy does in that situation, He's just so good, man. Like his processing, just formation alerts, reading keys, informing what to do. It's not quite Michael Bennett as far as that goes, but it's not that far off. God, if he didn't get hurt last year, who knows, man? Who knows?
Imagine.
Whatever.
Oh, well.
Whatever.
Oh, well, he did. So, that's that. All right. This game's going to be thrilling. And now, score prediction-wise, there's a lot on the line here, Griff. Are you familiar?
No.
Oh, my gosh.
Oh, all the incentives? Yeah.
No. I mean, yeah, that's actually like more relevant. There is a lot of incentives here, and Macdonald said how he's going to coach to win, but also with those incentives in mind. And yeah, maybe we'll get some weird stuff. But no, from our score predictions, Griff, this is literally like who knows ball more. We're going to find out right now.
Oh.
So Monjombo
Jumbo
in the chat, pretty much every episode, put together the score predictions. There's lots of numbers here, but what you need to pay attention to is this. Look how pivotal this matchup is.
Yeah.
May not matter for the Seahawks, but for Griff and I, oh my word. Everything rides on this.
Yeah.
So Griff.
Yeah.
With that said.
Yeah.
What's your score prediction?
26-18 Seattle.
26-18 Seattle.
Mm-hmm.
I'm really tired to do like the mental maths. 25 minus. Hold on a second here. This is thrilling. No. So that'd be 23. Fine. Okay, I've come up with one. I think the Seahawks will win 23-16.
Okay. Cool.
Is that good?
That's great.
Brilliant. There we go. So, what was your one, Griff?
What did I say? 26-18?
Yeah, and I said 23-16.
Okay.
So you're saying it's a 6-point game?
Yeah.
Oh, and I'm saying it's 7 points. Why don't you like the Seahawks? Like, that's been messed up of you.
Sorry.
That's right. That was a podcast. It's a tough time right now. Hopefully, yeah, we'll see what we do after the show. Like, there's tape, but like, there's also tape. Like, we could watch a different game. Thank you everyone so much for joining us. I want to make sure. Jason, thanks for the donation, Jason. I'm glad you see Darnold similarly to us, or Darnold in Seattle at least. There's also a good game of football on Sunday, so we'll make sure to not take up too much of your time if we even do a post-game show. Nah, of course we'll do a post-game show.
Yeah. Matty, are you ready for the post overload episode affirmations? Are you ready for some growth?
I'd like a lullaby.
I'm going to do this until you get bored. I uplift my joy in the joy of others. I welcome the wisdom that comes with growing older. I welcome what is. I welcome what comes. I will allow myself to evolve. Letting go creates space for opportunities to come. My body is beautiful in this moment. My body is worthy of being cared for and adorned in beautiful garments. My feeling deserves name, deserve recognition, deserve to be felt. My heart is open to helpfulness from myself and from others. My heart knows its own way. My life is not a race or competition. My perspective is unique and important. My pleasure does not require someone else's pain. My sensitivity is beautiful. Matty, come on now. And my feelings and emotions are valid.